Friends, welcome back to the Autry Benton Show. Today's guest is going to be fun for all of us. I don't know much about her, so we're going to get to know her together. And listen, our schools matter. We have fabulous schools in Horry County, and she's running for the school board in Horry County. So we're going to dive in. Great to have you today, Meredith.
Nice to be here, Autry. Thank you so much for having me.
Tell us, our guests, who you are and where you live. And
my name is Meredith Kennedy, and I live in Myrtle Beach. And I'm not a native, but I've been in Myrtle Beach since 2010. So it's home for me now.
It's home. You've been here a while. You can go ahead and claim it. So
okay, I can claim it now.
I always tell everybody, it doesn't matter if you've been here one day. We're all residents. We love everybody.
That's right.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Good. So we'll start right at the beginning. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a town called Kernersville, North Carolina. It's right outside of Winston-Salem and Greensboro in the Triad, and went all the way through public school there. Had a great upbringing, great parents, and then I went on to Appalachian State University and had a great time there and enjoyed my time in Boone. And then I moved to Charleston kind of on a whim after college and got into my career in workforce development, workforce training, career training, and thought it was just going to be a job. And it turned out to be a wonderful career. I was in for about 18 years.
Wow. Yep. Got siblings?
I don't. I'm an only child.
Oh, wow.
And I have an only child. Yep.
That's great. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So tell me about your mom and dad. What did they do?
My dad is a Navy veteran.
Oh, thank you for his service.
Yes,
we
absolutely.
love veterans.
I know you do. Yes, he was a Navy veteran, very proud of it. He did that as active duty, but also reserves for a lot of years of my childhood and growing up. He was always a veteran. He also had a career in with a company that manufactured gas pumps, and he was a buyer and a seller and customer service. He did all kinds of things with them. And my mom worked basically an administrative assistant many years for Wake Forest University. So I always loved being on the college campus and kind of had that experience with her. So it was. They were great parents. We had a great upbringing, came up through the United Methodist Church. And so,
That's awesome.
Good time.
That's great. That's great. What'd you enjoy doing as a kid through high school and stuff?
Gosh, I like, I was always dubbed by my teachers as a talker.
That's good.
I had great behavior and I made pretty decent grades, but I was always, she talks too much. So that was always on my report card. Wow. But I loved friends, and I was really involved in dance and in my church. I did Girl Scouts for many years, got my silver award with that. I had a really great, well-rounded childhood in the 80s and the 90s, which was awesome. I wish we could go back there sometimes.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So did you know, like, going to college, what you wanted to do? Or
I did not. Had no clue. I was fortunate enough that, my parents said, we want you to go to college. And my dad was the first in his family to finish a 4-year degree. And he did that with the military's assistance, which was awesome. And so that was a goal of theirs and mine. And so I had a good, well-rounded college experience at Appalachian State. I can't speak enough about how great that experience was. I know it's not for everyone. That was my journey. I think that kids need a lot of different options, especially these days. It's not for everyone. But had a good experience. I got a degree in history, actually.
History? Do you still enjoy history?
I do. I love history. Honestly, when I was in school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was good at history. And I'm a good reader. I'm a fast reader. And so I ended up with a history degree. Interesting enough, I did an internship in college at the Biltmore Estate. Oh, wow. Which was really fun. And
what a beautiful place.
Spent a summer there, in Asheville. It was gorgeous and just a fun experience. And a couple years after I started working, I went back and got a master's degree in education because I was working in education at the time. Yeah. And just thought that would be a good fit. So did that and really helped kind of move my career along with that company. So
interesting question. Who's one of your favorite figures from history?
Gosh, the suffragettes, and really their struggle, what they did to get women the right to vote, which was really crazy. Now that I'm entering into politics and I'm learning about how few people take advantage of the opportunity to vote.
Amen.
And I know you probably remember this and experienced this, but it's just remarkable how hard they fought for that. And then I feel like our generation takes it for granted. So that's probably one of my favorite.
Great. Do you still love to read today?
I love to read. I have a Goodreads app, and so I track my books. I love it because if I don't, I read and forget sometimes.
Yeah.
So I track my books on Goodreads, and I love to see what I've read. And usually I read about 50, I average about 50 books a year.
That's impressive.
What I try to.
All right, so what's one of the best books you ever read? I got to ask that.
Oh, gosh.
Or a couple.
I have a couple. So I read for fun. I don't read a ton for work, or I did read a lot of leadership books when I was first coming up in my career, but I read a lot for fun now. So
there's no wrong answer.
The best book I've read this year so far is called The Correspondent, and a lot of people have probably heard it because it's been on the bestseller list by Virginia Evans, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's all letters. So it was really, really cool. Yeah. So I read that this year, and that was probably one of my favorites. But probably my favorite to ever was To Kill a Mockingbird. So,
it's a classic.
I mean, it's a classic. But
I tell you, it's impressive you read 50 books a year. You know.
Well, I do a little listening now. I used to not listen at all, but I've gotten into audio, and when I'm driving around, I'm a real estate agent now, so I spend a lot of time in my car.
That's great. That's great. That's great. So graduating college, what was your next steps?
That's when I decided to move to Charleston on a whim with some friends, and ended up meeting my husband there. It just was like the best. It's crazy how you have a decision like that, and it ends up being the best decision, really a game changer for me in my life. And loved Charleston because of the history, and I was kind of fascinated with it at the time. This was, over 20 or 25 years ago almost.
Yeah.
And got a job with Millermont Technical College, and was
in Charleston?
In North Charleston.
Okay.
Yeah, worked on Rivers Avenue, and I just needed a job, said after college, I'll take the first thing that kind of I can get in. And I was living with a bunch of girls and having a great time, but I just had no idea that was going to be how in love with it I was going to fall, and be able to really lay a foundation and have a career. And I ended up moving around a lot with them, and running schools and running regions and things like that.
So tell me about meeting your husband.
We met at work. We are a workplace romance.
Okay.
Yep. So that was we've been married almost 23 years. So it was kind of fast, actually.
Okay.
But good decision. That's another one you just kind of, I don't know about you, but
God's
when you
plans,
know,
right?
it was 100%. So,
So from the time y'all met to got married, how long?
only like 2 years, maybe.
That's good.
Yeah. So we got married in my hometown, but we still were living in Charleston. And then about a year later, we moved to Wilmington. And at the time, he was working in IT, and he was traveling a little bit. We always say that was probably the best thing for the beginning of our marriage, that he was traveling a little bit. And then when he stopped traveling, I started traveling a little bit. It was it was nice to, you got a little break, but it was fun. And when we moved here, my son was born in 2012, so he is a native. So he's a Myrtle Beach native. Yeah.
So what's some marriage advice for our listeners? I always ask everybody that.
So something that I had to work on, and I had to work on this in my career too, is listening, active listening skills. And I think that was important. We're very different. I'm a talker. Yep. And he's not as much, although he's very smart. He's smarter than I am, but so we had to I had to work on that personally. And then he had things, that he would work on
everybody
too.
Does, yeah.
But I think what has helped a lot in since we moved here, we've really found a church that we're happy with. That helps a ton.
Where y'all go to church?
We do. Trinity United Methodist in North Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
Yep. So my parents were members there, and we were kind of searching around. We got my son christened there, baptized, and then decided to do that. My husband was raised Catholic, and I was raised Methodist, and we kind of were trying out different things when we first got married. I think that's important too, to find a church home. And because we moved so much, we never felt like we had a home in a church, but thankfully we found one here.
That's good.
And that was great. So my son's active in the youth group. He's getting confirmed in a month or so. So yeah.
So your relationship with the Lord's important to you?
Yeah, it is very, very.
It's foundational, right?
Yeah, it is. It transformed a little bit for me. My son was diagnosed with autism when he was 3. And you ask why, and what is this plan? You don't understand it. I totally had to give it up, and because I knew that the control was not my control anymore, and I fought that, because I'm a kind of a little bit type A, and I think that's just natural to try to fight the plan. And I would never have survived like the initial diagnosis and then his treatments, and just where he's gotten today is all God, 100%. So it really helped both of us, I think, to kind of lean into that and be able to accept that, this is how God made him.
Yeah, I don't know how people navigate this life without the Lord.
I don't
honestly,
either.
It's too tough.
It is, and especially now. I mean, we have so many things facing us these days that I don't understand how you get through it without it. So,
So after you're married, so how quickly before your son was born?
Oh gosh, we were married a while, mainly because my career was really full force then. And we moved a lot. Like I said, we lived in Wilmington, Charleston, Wilmington, Raleigh. And then once we got here, we knew we were kind of going to settle. My parents had retired and moved here, which was nice. And so we were married almost 7 years before he was born, 6 or 7. Yeah.
Okay,
so,
great.
Yeah.
So tell us all about your son.
Oh, he's so wonderful. His name's Gabe. He's 14 now. He's in the 8th grade at Myrtle Beach Middle. So like I told you, I mean, he was a great baby and a good toddler. Probably told he was 3, like most toddlers. And then we just noticed, he wasn't talking like other children were his age. His social skills were way deficient and still are. So we got him in, we got him tested, and he qualified for Horry County Schools early childhood program. And that was another God thing. I mean, it was the best thing that ever happened. I was trying to get him, he was in a church preschool, which just didn't have, they just weren't equipped to really take care of him and give him what he needed to be able to thrive. And we got him in at Myrtle Beach Early Childhood, and that couldn't have been a better decision. And he's been with, the Myrtle Beach cluster ever since.
That's awesome.
He does some special needs, he does some general ed. I would say he's moderate. He's kind of, I don't like to label him too much, but he's moderately functioning. He's verbal, and he does, but his social skills are very deficient. That's probably his biggest gap. He's funny. He's been a joy to parent for sure.
That's awesome.
And I think we appreciate things that I know, knowing me, it would have passed me by. In the child rearing, there's just things that he does when he meets a milestone or overcomes an obstacle. We are very, we're just so appreciative that that's happened, thanks to God. And I know old me would have not even acknowledged, something like that. So that for us, I mean, we have a lot of wins. We celebrate wins really big in our house. So he has a lot of them. So yeah.
All children are gifts from the Lord.
Yep, absolutely, 100%.
Precious.
Yep.
That's great. So you traveled a lot with work.
I did.
So tell us a little bit what you were doing with Miller Mott.
So Miller Mott Technical College and the company that owned us, we had, at one point, about 40 campuses across mostly the East Coast, down from Pennsylvania down to Louisiana. We had a couple locations out in Arizona and California at the time. So I kind of traveled all around. I opened the campus that was here in Conway on 501 for many years, and that was one reason we moved here. I ran a school in Cary, North Carolina, and I was an admissions director over in Wilmington, North Carolina. And we trained folks for the workforce, bottom line. So we did everything from short programs like CDL, which is a great career, by the way.
Can't get enough truck drivers.
You cannot get enough. I mean, they don't realize the money they can make with the small investment, very small investment to go through. And I think Horry Georgetown Tech actually still works with Miller Mott and uses our program, which is kind of cool. And then we did stuff that were 2-year degrees, like medical assisting, surgical technology. We did things like cosmetology, and we wanted to try to get you from, that walking in our door to a career in less than 2 years. That was really the goal, because most of the folks that we dealt with were that had no direction. Adults. Our average age student was like 28.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them had been kind of floundering around in entry-level jobs and really just needed focus.
Well, Meredith, I think you said it is everybody's path's not the same, is it? I mean,
No.
Some military, some college, and some trades. I mean, and there's such a need for trade workers in our world today, isn't there?
Trades is where I would push a child, especially one that didn't know what they wanted to do, or maybe one that wants to work with their hands, doesn't want to sit at a desk. or isn't going to go, be a medical professional. At trades is absolutely welders. I mean, it's all about I say your ROI on your education. So what's going to be your return, when you finish school? And a lot of times you don't get a good ROI on a 4-year degree. And I had one of those degrees. I mean, you definitely pay a lot and don't start out at the same salary that someone who maybe only spent 9 months in a welding program and comes out making a really nice, starting salary for a job that is so in demand. So there's definitely different paths.
And don't you think if in our school system, we start with that basic question, this is how much you're physically going to make, that. And then the other thing I always tell my kids is do something you enjoy. You can make $1 billion and do something you hate, and it's not worth it.
No.
And then the third thing I say is got to be God honored. Number thing, 3 things. Enjoy it, live any kind of lifestyle you want, and enjoy what you do.
Yeah. Right.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's wise words for you as a parent, because I think a lot of parents have their own dreams for kids, and then your kids have a whole other set of dreams, and there needs to be some honest conversations happening around what their future looks. And it doesn't mean it's forever. Maybe you get out into a welding career. I talk about this. I have a friend that I went to high school with, and he was not a great student, but he started as a plumber's apprentice in high school. And by the time he was 30, he had his own plumbing company. And now today, he's my age, and he has a fleet of trucks. And this is my hometown. A fleet of trucks. He, all the contracts on new construction. I mean, he's just had a phenomenal business and barely could graduate from high school. He just was not, the books were not for him. But smart, thank God his parents said, go to work, doing this plumbing job and see if you like it. And he did, and got his plumbing license right out of high school, which I think is amazing.
That is awesome.
And he's made such a great living on that. So that's always one of my examples of someone who didn't take the college path.
Yeah.
We have a lot of kids who do a great job going to college, and and they have a plan, they want to go to med school, law school, get an MBA, and that's wonderful. But we have some kids that get lost in the middle, I think, too, that just don't really know what they want to do.
So what pushed you towards real estate?
So the company I worked for got bought in 2018, and they kind of eliminated, I was a regional vice president at that point, and they eliminated all of our positions, which I knew was coming. We had been up for sale for a while. So I took a year and was doing some consulting job with a previous boss of mine, just helping him. He was in a new school system, and he was like, please help me get this going. So I did that in Indianapolis, actually. And that expired, and I said, I don't want to travel anymore. Gabe was getting to an age where I felt like I needed to be home more, to go to events and just be really present. I've always been involved in the schools, even when I did travel, but I really wanted to get more involved. So I'm great friends with Penny and Sarah Bowling. They were kind of a couple of the first people I met when I moved to Myrtle Beach. And so they said, you need to get your real estate license. Get your real estate license. So I got it in 2019, which was so interesting because it was just a run-of-the-mill market at the time. And I got in there, and then COVID hit in March 2020. Boy. So I'd had my license 9 months maybe, and I had no idea for a couple of weeks, the 2-week shutdown, whatever that was. Didn't really know if I was going to sell real estate again. We didn't really know the state of the country, but thankfully, it ended up being the craziest boom, real estate boom that we could have anticipated. We got real busy and sold a lot of real estate in those couple of years. Still am today. So it's been interesting. I always had an interest in it. We bought and sold a lot of houses on our own, and so it was. I love people, and so that part's been fun.
You meet a lot of people doing that.
I do. I get a little bit of the same satisfaction I got seeing an adult, find a career and graduate as I did finding a home and being able to become a homeowner for the first time maybe, or retire here, which is a dream of a lot of people. We live in a place that people dream about, which is
that big, beautiful ocean.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. We live in a place that people dream about. So, that's been fun. So, and it's allowed me some flexibility with my son, which has been great. And also, when I got this tug a couple of years ago to get involved with the schools.
So tell us about it. So you're running for school board chair. In what district?
I am District 2, which is Briarcliff Acres down to 13th Avenue South.
Okay.
And then out west to Grand Dunes, Plantation Point, and a little bit, just a tiny little bit in Carolina Forest over the waterway. So, but it's mainly the Myrtle Beach, cluster of schools. So it's, a place I love. I'm passionate about these schools. I know a lot of people that work in them. And of course, I've experienced it with my son. I would be the only parent on the school board if elected, which is kind of wild. I think we need a parent's voice on there because we get a whole different view. And you did this, I've done this with your kids, but you get a whole different view of what's going on in the schools as a parent than you do, as an administrator or just a community member. So,
yeah, and I think that's important. I think it's good. At any point, I say this a lot on here. Any level of government, it's good to have people coming from different aspects of life. I think it makes a good, well-rounded, whether it's a legislator or a school board or a city council or anything. So I 1,000% agree with you.
Yeah, you need a mix. Of folks from different areas of life, different times in their life. I think, but we haven't had a parent. I don't know when the last time was. So it's definitely time for that.
Yeah, and I think you said it already, but you're presently and have been involved in schools already, right? So tell us about what you've been doing.
So when my son was in elementary school, I got involved pretty heavily in PTO and did a lot of PTO stuff at Myrtle Beach Primary, Myrtle Beach Elementary. I'm really big I've always been passionate about teacher appreciation. So I've chaired that many years and I still do now because I just think we have some underappreciated, folks in that role.
Teachers are the best of us.
Yes, absolutely. It takes a special person, and I found that in middle school. Working in middle school, that takes that's a calling.
Person.
It is a calling. So, but when he got to 6th grade, I was asked to join the School Improvement Council. Every school in the district has an SIC, and so I've chaired that for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And in 6th grade, unfortunately, we had a gun brought into Myrtle Beach Middle, and you may have heard about this on the news. And it was with a child had it in his backpack with an intent to use it, which was. And I send a very vulnerable child to school every day that doesn't have the instincts some other kids have to protect themselves. I know some kids that can totally protect themselves, at that age, and he's not one of them. So he has to rely on adults, to make sure that he does. So it did not sit well with me. We heard that there was a gun in the school that had been cleared. The child has been, expelled or whatever happened with him. But I wanted to know how, why, I just started asking questions. And as the SIC chair, I did have a relationship with administrators there and teachers. And so it really came down to, I didn't think the schools were as secure as they needed to be. And so I kind of gathered up some other parents in our district. Some that had already been involved, and we kind of rallied together. And that 2020, in the spring of 2024, and said, we don't like that this happened, and what's kind of prevention? And we can't control what happens in homes and how he was even able to get a hold of a gun to bring it into school, but we sure, can get things tightened up at the school level, and they weren't tight.
Yeah.
So with the help of a lot of other parents and some school board members that were very open and listened to us, we wrote a lot of emails and had a lot of conversations and got responses from a good bit of the current school board members. We were able to get new weapons detection systems, which I didn't even know what that was before.
Great.
I don't come from a law enforcement background, and we learned about those. Though, they have those at Disney. They have them when you go to a concert, a big concert venue or a big NFL.
Is that like a metal detector? Or is it a little bit
better? So we had metal detectors at a lot of the schools, but the weapons detection detects all types of weapons. And so we were able to get these systems put in every school, the training done on them. And I say we encouraged the district to do it. We also got a new director of security who's fabulous.
At Myrtle Beach Middle?
No, in the district.
The district?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Y'all encouraged a lot of change.
We did. We forced, we just felt like so I come from a leadership background.
Yeah.
And I just want the best leaders we can get at the school level, at the district level, and we did not have the best. And so, you know, we have a guy with a lot of experience, retired from SLED, I believe. Now, Mike Frederick, he's great.
And he's with the school district now.
Yeah.
And his main thing is security?
It is security.
Wow.
And when I heard him speak the first time, he's about prevention too, which is great. I mean, of course, you got to have an action plan and a lockdown plan and all those sorts of things, but he's about prevention, which I love.
Makes sense to me.
Yep, it does. So, and we got new leadership last year as a district as a whole with Cliff Jones, our new superintendent. I'm a huge fan of Cliff. I'm not quiet about that. He's a lot of experience. He's got vision. He's got a lot of forward thinking, which we need in an area that's changed so much, you know.
Yeah. And we're quickly running out of time. So what if elected, what's some of the things you want to do to continue to work on?
So I want to keep Cliff here. I think he's only got a 3-year contract. I'd like to keep him as our superintendent and finish what he's started. I know he's got a lot more to accomplish. He's already been here a year. So I would definitely vote to keep him here, extend his contract, and compensate him the way he needs to be. I think that we need to continue on the literacy trend. We're doing some good work with literacy. We had a kind of dismal numbers with kids reading on grade level. And we've done some work in that area. Our current District 2 rep, that was a passion of hers, which has been, we've seen the fruits of that labor. But there's still some more work. We're definitely not there. That's definitely important to me. We lose medical professionals that want to move here because they don't like what they see in our schools. And that's important to our retirement population.
So you're saying people looking for jobs here, first thing to look at is school district.
Yeah. They look at school district, but they have small children. And, you know.
How about safety? Is that something you want to
Safety is still on the docket. I mean, I think we just need to continue improving that. We, like I said, made a lot of headway, but don't take your eye off the ball for sure. So that's definitely something that I'm passionate about. And workforce development. I think that preparing kids, I mean, for the workforce. And then finally, of course, special needs is important to me. I think there's some work that can be done in that department. I think we have some outdated practices and policies with special needs, and it does not. If you have a strong special needs program, it lifts the whole school up and the whole district up, really, because you're not taking resources away from general education. You've got all the right people in place. Gabe has been really fortunate because he's had some wonderful educators. I just don't know that that's consistent across the district.
Yeah, I got you. So where can our listeners find out more about you and your campaign?
Yes, absolutely. I have a Facebook page, Meredith Kennedy for School Board, District 2, and that's pretty easy to find on Facebook and Instagram. And then actually signs are going to be going up soon. I'm going to be all over the district door knocking really soon. So that's mainly where I keep the information. I have a QR code for fundraising. I started fundraising last year, so I made some headway, but as you know, it's
the fun part
constant.
of it. It's fun of it. Well, listen, I wanted to say thank you for what you've done already to make our schools better, and congratulations on running and come back. Yes. And folks, as we finish up today, we've got great schools in Horry County, but we got to keep them great. We are in a primary season. I'm a broken record, but as she said, go take advantage of your American right to vote. Vote, vote, vote. Primaries matter. Join us next time.